Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on, well, I guess just the Flash movie and the constant and ongoing drama with this whole thing. So I'd say over the past, I don't know, I want to say week or so roughly, the Flash solo movie, we'll call it, has been up for discussion just in the heads of a lot of people due to another change in not only the directing ranks, and if you want to call it that, but also with the writer of the film, or, you know, the writer. But there were some script details put out there on the two competing scripts before that for the movie. Obviously, these coming out recently, which are now in the trash due to the change in the director and, of course, the writer. So we'll just go over those first before the new details on the directing and writing, just so we know what was in the running, and then now what's happening. So over the past, let's say, like, I don't know, maybe we'll just say 2 years or something, there has been this, like, drama with the Flash movie, and I guess Ezra Miller as well, and he's wanting of a new script recently after reading the script from Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley, who were the writers and directors before this new change that only happened over the past week. So obviously, because Ezra Miller was like, no, I don't want this movie, he went to work with Grant Morrison and work on a script there. Now, Grant Morrison wrote a lot of Wally West stuff. He's also just a legend in regards to DC comic stuff, especially like Doom Patrol and stuff like that. So, you know, Grant Morrison is a very respected name. So when Ezra Miller was going to pair up with him, I don't think many people were looking at the Ezra Miller side of that whole thing. It was more the Grant Morrison. I was like, okay, well, he understands the character. Of course, it's more Wally West, but it still at least, you know, knows some stuff about the Flash mythology, so he could bring that into this new script if maybe the previous script that Ezra Miller didn't like didn't have that. Now, as time went on, it did seem that Ezra Miller was maybe gone from the project. Now, it still seems that he is attached to it, especially with his new director and writer coming in, but there's still people that, you know, get the scoops and stuff and have connections that are saying that no, he's not gone. No, that he is gone, sorry, and he won't play the Flash again. But it hasn't been officially announced whether he's staying or whether he's going. But like Lucas Till and I think it was like Ansel Elgort were thought to be the two front runners to take the role if he were to go. Obviously, we don't know what's happening with that. But script details for both of these movies did come out, as I said before, so let's go over both of them and decide, I guess, which one is better for the first Flash solo movie that could have happened, and like the emphasis on first is very important. But we'll go through them separately, break them down quickly, and then come to an overall review and thoughts on them, as well as going over the new stuff that's just come out. But of course, throughout the video, leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Which of these two, I guess now, dead scripts sounds better to you? Which one do you think would have been the best one to see come to screen? What do you think about the new details as well? And I guess if you're going to enjoy the video, it would be cool, awesome, and well, yeah, just that if you could leave a like on the video. So first off, let's start with the Goldstein and John Francis Daley script. So it just starts off with Barry meets Eobard Thawne and they actually become friends and fight the Rogues together. So it's interesting that like the Rogues seem like they're going to be already there. Like they're already going to be, I guess they might be like a sort of like proto-rogue squad, if you want to call them. Like they're just starting, maybe they're a bit basic on what they do, or maybe they don't even have like special things, you know, like weapons or anything like that at this stage. Hard to tell, but I'm not surprised that they would go with like that they would have been going with like a Barry and Eobard Thawne being like friends thing. That was always like a rumor with the Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley script that it was going to be like a friendship turned rivalry at some point. So that's not too surprising there. But they then have that Eobard Thawne is a time traveler who went back in time to learn from the Flash, but ended up arriving earlier than intended. So I'm not too sure what this would have to do specifically with the script. Maybe he was meant to meet Flash when he was a bit more of a hero. Maybe, you know, certain things already played out, because it's hard to tell like the context of when this Flash movie would be. Like, is it, you know, when Barry's first starting? Is it post Justice League? Like, when's it falling? You know, how long has Barry been the Flash for? How did his powers fall? So it's unclear with the details that we have. So yeah, it would have been interesting to see where Thawne was actually aiming to go specifically. But the movie explores how Eobard Thawne went from Barry's admirer to his greatest enemy in real time, instead of leaving it as backstory like the other pictures. But obviously one of like the base storylines with like the whole like Eobard Thawne and like Barry Allen thing has been that like Eobard Thawne is his admirer and like he wants to be the Flash and everything like that, or like be similar in you know, similar if you want to call it. And then he goes and just finds out that he was like destined to become the Flash's greatest enemy or something along those lines, or you know, he eventually sees something along those lines which pushes him into that evil frame of mind and makes him go to become this like reverse Flash and Barry's greatest enemy. But maybe they had this plan where maybe Barry was going to do something that maybe betrayed Eobard Thawne or something along those lines, or Barry like sort of pushes Eobard Thawne away from maybe like one thing that Eobard Thawne does throughout the movie, which maybe just pushes Eobard Thawne down that route, and maybe he gets like, he's got like a soft ego and everything, like, oh, you know, he gets hurt feelings very quickly, so maybe that's what happened there, which then pushes him down there. Would have had to been done pretty well, I think, because some people might have rolled their eyes and gone, okay, really, that's the origin of the Flash's greatest enemy. He just gets hurt feelings. So it would have had to been done fairly well, but, you know, it fits in line with certain things that we have seen in regards to the origin of the character. But the last thing that's said here is that the rogues' tech comes from the future as well, and enhances their body instead of being just guns. So this is very similar to like the New 52 stuff, where the rogues are basically, you know, they actually are metahumans. So instead of like Captain Cold having a cold gun, he just has those cold powers, like they're a part of him. And same with like Heat Wave and all the other rogues as well. So it's much more cinematic. It would have been much more cinematic if they went this way, and I think it's probably the better way to do the rogues on screen, depending on like what the rest of the movie is. Like if the rest of the movie is very classic Flash, then maybe just using the weapons is the better way. But if they are trying to like, you know, advance it a bit, then maybe going with like the metahuman based powers for these rogues is the better way to go. But overall, this sounds like a really good first solo movie for the Flash. I think it's just like probably the best origin movie you can do. You have a reverse Flash there, as well as the rogues, which can be like ongoing villains throughout any sequels and stuff like that. So I think this would have been a very good first solo movie. But now let's go over the Ezra Miller and Grant Morrison script. So it starts off with Barry tries to save his dead mum through time travel and accidentally frees Eobard Thawne from the Speed Force. So yeah, basically like a Flashpoint-esque storyline we're starting off with. Now Barry has to team up with Jay Garrick to stop Eobard Thawne from killing Flashes across the multiverse, or speedsters across the multiverse, I guess, to destroy the Speed Force or something along those lines. Now this sounds awesome. It sounds really cool, but you'll get my drift, as you know, that I'll say later on, that it's not the smartest movie for general audiences in regards to like letting them know who the Flash is. Like it's more of a sequel idea. But it says lots of alternate Flashes are featured, leading up to a big battle between Thawne and an army of Flashes. Now this one caught me a bit like, not too sure about that, because are we meant to believe that like maybe like, let's just say like 30 or like even like 10 good speedsters are like they're going to have like an even battle with Eobard Thawne? Could Eobard Thawne honestly take on all of them? Like that sounds a bit weird. It'd be cool if it was like evil speedsters across the multiverse versus all the good ones. So it's like 10 evil speedsters versus 10 or 15 good speedsters. That'd be awesome. But just Eobard Thawne versus an army of good speedsters, sounds like Eobard Thawne's got a lot of, he's got a bit of a battle on his hands. It seems like a bit unfair. And then it says, in the end, Barry realizes he has to let Thawne kill his mum, so he's defeated in the future. So it's basically, it's like a Flashpoint-esque storyline without being like the grand epicness that a lot of people want with the Flashpoint movie. And just overall these thoughts, like this second one is a good movie, but it's not a good first Flash movie. It's an amazing sequel though. And when I give my overall thoughts on both, like it'd be cool if that Jonathan Goldstein movie was and John Francis Daly script was the first movie, and this Ezra Miller, and Grant Morrison script was the sequel. It sounds awesome. Obviously, I don't really like, using the Flashpoint, idea with that movie. They could do something else. Maybe it could just be like Barry does something to free Eobard Thawne from the Speed Force. It doesn't have to be like saving his mum. Maybe just leave Flashpoint for the actual Flashpoint story. But it's a good sequel in regards to the rest of it, and I'd love to see it. But yeah, in regards to like the new details with this Flash solo movie, that feels like it has been in like a constant loop of development for the past 74 years. We now have a new writer as well as a new director, both of which has people, especially DC fans, as you would expect, quite excited. So the new writer is that of Christina Hodson, who wrote the critically and fan-loved Bumblebee movie from the end of last year, and she also wrote Birds of Prey for DC, which is going by early test screenings, and what people are saying is looking to be a massive hit for Warner Brothers and DC. It's getting a lot of buzz from that. So it doesn't come as too much of a surprise that Warner Brothers would want to keep her attached to them. The only possible issue with this is that Birds of Prey is apparently not the most faithful of interpretations, and with that group I think that is fine for the most part, but if she were to do that with the Flash character, you could end up with some pretty weird and just odd and a bit off-putting things, especially when it comes to his backstory, his powers, and even his villains. Like making the rogues metahumans is in the comics, but you could do something weird with rogues, or even Reverse Flash or some of the other villains that might make people go, I'm not the biggest fan of that. But I guess that's for us to wait, see, and find out. In regards to the director that is now coming in, we have Andy Muschietti, I think that's how you pronounce him, who was just rumored to be in talks at first, but he basically confirmed he was taking on the project on Instagram throughout the past week as well. Now, Andy is best known for It, like the movie It, and obviously the upcoming It Part 2 coming out later this year. Now, DC has done pretty well bringing in the horror directors for their movies, like James Wan with Aquaman, David Sandberg with Shazam, and now Andy Muschietti for The Flash. You would have to think Reverse Flash would have to be the villain, and it would be interesting to see Andy's take on that character. I've seen people saying like, oh, Black Flash should be the villain and stuff, but I guess the people saying that obviously don't understand, well, I guess anything, I guess. Now, it is scheduled or rumored to be scheduled to start filming early next year. Like, I think that's what's going to happen, because I think Christina Hodson would have enough time to do that. Like, she wrote Birds of Prey pretty quickly, I think from memory at least, in regards to when it was announced that she signed on to when they started filming the movie. So it's probably, she probably has even more time to write the Flash movie as well. And it wouldn't surprise me if maybe if she was given like what they probably want for the movie, and then she just wrote off that, so it might be something from like a previous script as well. And that scheduled start for next year will probably happen now, considering the writer and director are on board and their connections to WB. Like, these are people that are already on WB's books, so I think they would trust them and be like, yep, whatever you want, we're going to go ahead with it. Now, I guess the big question is, like, am I looking forward to this movie, and should we all be looking forward to this movie? And I think, yeah, like, I'm annoyed that it keeps getting delayed, but I think with the signing on of these two people who are already connected to Warner Brothers, it makes me think that this movie will actually get made this time around. Like, that script from Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley, where it's like the Reverse Flash origin with Barry's sort of like early days mixed in. I really like the idea of that movie, but they've never really held a project this big. They've just been writing on bigger projects. So with like this writing and directing combo, I think it's probably the better way to go. It's just going to be interesting to see whether Ezra Miller is still the Flash or not, because people that are connected are saying he isn't, but then there's just no official announcement. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show your support. Let me know in the comment section down below which of those like dead scripts, if you want to call them, was your favorite. Which one did you prefer? And what are your thoughts on this new writing director team coming in for the new movie? And are you just excited to see this movie eventually come out? And who do you think should be the villain as well? Let me know all of those opinions in the comment section down below. And yeah, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.